Hi, this is Greg Hildebrandt. I've been a professional artist for 62 years. I've done a lot of artwork in that time, and I'm still just trying to get it right.
Hello.
Keith, you look like a pink nightmare.
Well, you look like a deranged Easter bunny.
Thank you for the compliment.
Absolutely. Hello, folks.
Hi, everybody.
People tuning in, people watching now, watching later. Hello. How you doing?
Greetings and hallucinations.
How you been doing, sir?
Oh, very good. I mean, I've seen the Christmas Story, which is one of our favorite movies of all time.
Absolutely.
Already. I'm sure I'll watch it again several times. This season. And Gene Shepard was a genius.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ralphie, what a great creation. I saw him live once.
Ralphie or Gene Shepard?
Both.
Yes.
I mean, Ralphie was coming out of his words, out of his mouth as he spoke. All a stand-up, all alone, on a stage, all by himself, carrying on the stories of the family from Indiana and all the events. He brought that storytelling sequence that I saw. It was up to the 1950s. When I remember, Ralphie by that point, Gene said, had 50 pounds of hair. All with the bro cream and everything. And I thought it was interesting at the end of the 2 hours, it was a question and answer, and people were asking questions, and he'd be answering in that voice, that beautiful voice that he has that narrates that movie.
Yep.
And somebody said how disappointed they were that when they found out that whole story, everything that's in the Christmas Story and in his book that it's based on, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash, was all invented by Mr. Shepard. This person was disappointed. He thought it was all based on real history. And Shepard kind of got really, sir, what the hell are you talking about? I created all that. You're disappointed? Anyway, here we are, dressed in Ralphie's bunny suit.
Pink nightmare.
Yes.
Deranged Easter bunny.
Yes.
That his aunt made for him.
That's right.
For Christmas morning.
Because she always thought he was perpetually.
Well, he was not only 4 years old. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm messing up the quotes on it.
It's all right.
He was perpetually 4 years old and a girl.
She always mistook him as that. Yes. Anyway, here we are.
Totally messed up the quote. I probably could quote.
Well, you told me what, a couple of weeks ago, that you think that's possibly your favorite movie of all time, possibly.
It is possibly my favorite movie of all time. Not just Christmas movie of all time, just movie in general.
That's incredible.
I love it. I could watch it at any time of the year.
Totally.
I mean, I typically reserve it for the Christmas season. Sure. But I just feel like it's a perfectly crafted story.
Yeah.
It's there's nothing that you could take away from it, in the movie.
Right.
And there's nothing that needs to be added to it. It's just a perfect package.
Yep.
Perfectly told. It captures, Americana.
Oh, right on the nose, man. I mean, they shot it in Cleveland.
Yep.
Right? It's supposed to be in Indiana, but it was shot in Cleveland. And that neighborhood, Ralphie's neighborhood, man, that looked just like the neighborhood I grew up in on the east side of Detroit in the 1940s. It had that feel to it,
Yeah.
This was just pre-war, pre-Second World War, right? 1939, I think it was kind of set in. And I was born in 39, but still that world, that look, that reality still existed through the 40s,
Yeah.
Incredible. Fantastic. Beautifully done.
So, I mean, I think I saw it for the first time in 3rd or 4th grade. Might have been around the time the movie was released. It just hit me in the right spot.
That's right.
It's a masterpiece.
The scene at Christmas morning when they go through all the packages and the kids,
disappointed.
And the father sits there and the father says, "Look over there. I think I see." There still brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, I mean, for that film, for me, starting off as a kid and watching it, and you're identifying with the kid, right?
Sure.
And wanting the presence and the prized possession, like. I mean, I've had several of those over the years. The toy that I really wanted.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
And
mine as a kid was a Flash Gordon pistol. It was a particular Flash Gordon pistol.
Yeah.
And I can remember vividly being in J.L. Hudson's supermarket, a department store supermarket in downtown Detroit, which is Detroit's Macy's, in their incredible toy department, and begging my mother to buy it, for me, and she wouldn't. And I still remember going crazy. I don't know how old I was, 6 years old. I still remember flipping out over it. So now I have a whole collection of ray guns from the day.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, we digress. But yeah, and then to wrap it up, of now having children of my own who have now grown up and gone through the magic of Christmas and are now post Santa. I mean, but I still put it. I mean, everything's still from Santa. I still do it up.
Of course. Yeah, hey, look at it. People criticize this, Santa Claus concept. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, you should. It provides the outlet for your imagination.
Yes.
And imagination is God given, is it not? I mean, without it, we're nothing. Imagination is everything.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people also then they speak angrily about the commercialism of Christmas. And, you're talking about department stores. That's
Right.
what they're supposed to sell you stuff. That's why they exist.
We live in a world where it depends on that. You build stuff, you make stuff, you sell stuff, you make a living.
Yeah. And so yes, are they trying to exploit the season to make money and a profit? Absolutely. But that's not. For me? That's not what the season is about. Yeah, they're doing all that crap.
Yeah, everybody's got to make a living.
But I love it. My favorite. It's interesting that winter is not my favorite season of the year, but Christmas is my favorite time.
Oh my God, it's been magic, for me since I was a kid. My parents were, it was just a beautiful time of the year, and of course I grew up in a religious world too, not frantically religious, but people who lived by the laws that and their beliefs and were good people, and so that aspect of it was beautiful, but the aspect of the imagination too, and Santa Claus, and the fact that anything was possible to happen, the possibility of anything magical happening was always there, and that always appealed to me. I mean, it's the realm of fairy and fantasy, and
absolutely, yeah, the realm of magic.
Yep.
So anyway, on to our topic of the day. So we are doing a year in review, right? Hang on, before we get into the year in review, we have people chiming in to say hello. Adrian Wagner calls us psychos, LOL.
What?
And then, so Piton PC, it's hi from Scotland. He shows up every week now.
Hey.
Awesome. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you very much. Season's greeting to you. Merry Christmas. We also hope you have a great New Year. Cliff Roth says, have you watched any of the follow-up movies of A Christmas Story? Unfortunately, yes.
No, I don't think Gene Shepard had anything to do with the rest of them. No,
he did not.
No, he was. I used to listen to him on the radio here in New York. He had a nightly show every night, and he would just go on and on. And he was a genius, man. The guy was fantastic. But that was the film, and that was it. That was it.
Yeah, not for me. Gordon Shumway says, loving it.
Gordon, how are you?
Jeff the Ref says, looking great. Thank you, folks. Anyway, okay. So we're here to do our
year in review.
The Greg Hildebrandt year in review, man. You actually had a very, very big year. The world's going crazy. We're still not quite in lockdown, but pretty much,
Yes, again, sort of.
you and Gene are a little bit more in lockdown. I mean,
Yeah,
we opened we're back together again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in spite of all that, you've had a busy year, man.
Oh, I mean, what Walter Simonson put up the picture at the beginning of the pandemic of an artist at his easel painting with a little tagline, "The artist before the pandemic." The same picture is repeated, the artist during the pandemic. The same picture is repeated, the artist after the pandemic. So it's basically kind of like we're here sitting and painting. This painting, which is Gene just had framed, is for the upcoming book on the history of heavy metal magazine. This is the cover that Matt Medney, the CEO of Heavy Metal, asked me to paint. And so we just happened to have that up for the end of the year painting.
Well, yeah, because that was kind of one of the big moments of the year for you.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Do you remember when the last time you painted anything for heavy metal?
Oh God, what was it? It was actually specifically painted for heavy metal. I painted it with maybe 10. I don't know. I've got the issue somewhere. 10. I don't know when the hell it was. 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It was a different people ran it.
Yeah.
So
was Eastman? Kevin Eastman still on it?
Kevin Eastman was still on it. Yes.
Okay.
Kevin Eastman. And then before that, Gene and I just started working together for a year or two, and she optioned one of my paintings for the February 1982 heavy metal cover, which they're reprinting for this February's issue. It's a 40th anniversary of that painting.
September.
February.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember it as February. Yeah.
I feel like when I was doing promo stuff, it said September.
Well, then somebody else messed up.
Somebody else probably did mess up, and therefore caused me to mess up.
Yeah, this is the one here.
Angel of the Gods.
But the astronauts.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm misspeaking right now. Mermaid's Passion.
Right, that was after.
September of 85.
But then I think maybe 10 years ago, I did a painting for them, for Kevin Eastman,
Yeah.
I love doing that stuff. It's just, again, with the world of imagination, man. You
Absolutely.
Just let it all out. Let it go.
So 2021 saw your reintroduction into, heavy metal.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And, working with the new co-owner or part owner, Matt Medney, not only doing this, beautiful painting. There's all kinds of hidden gems in this thing. Wait till you guys actually get to see it and inspect it. It's a phenomenal painting. But then you did some of his personal projects as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Covered for him for his graphic novel. And another thing that they're working with Steve Aoki, a painting for that, which was really exciting to do. It's great because it's like a whole different direction for me in this particular moment. It's still obviously what I've done for most of my artistic career, the kind of work I've done, but still it's got specifics about it that are completely different from everything else. I mean, which makes it much more, I can say, liberating to be able to work with them.
Yeah.
Plus, they're open to original ideas and concepts that I have many, that I've developed over the years.
Yeah.
Whole stories and sequential stuff, comic stuff related, and just whole other ideas for how to do artwork for that particular magazine in their that genre.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be phenomenal to see you not only do more covers, but actually get to do some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully that happens. And then, with heavy metal kind of ties in right now, you jumped into the NFT market.
Yes. That's something that, you and Gene, of course, are the ones that are managing that. I first started hearing that, I don't know, when was it? Earlier this year? I don't remember exactly.
Like at the beginning of the year, like around May, when we started developing everything.
I'm listening to the whole, I paint here, and over there Keith works on the computer and Gene will be over on the other side of the room, and I can hear, when I'm paying attention, how it is when you focus on your painting, you kind of just it's just a murmur in the background.
Yep.
But when I hear things, it's like, what the hell is an NFT? People keep NFT. What is it? What are they talking about? NIFT. What's a NIFT? Of course, I remember LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco from the old advertising days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's anyway. I'm listening, and then I think either I asked you or Gene or both of you guys, what is this all about? And Gene was just like getting into it and trying to explain it to me, or more than try. She explains it, but whether or not it registers with me is the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound like you're getting anything for your money. I mean, to me, because I'm so used to, you got to have this object. It's a painting on a piece of, in this case, on canvas, or a drawing on a piece of paper. You have this in your hands, but this is not that.
No, and the best way I've heard described of approaching it from like that thought process as well. Think about when credit cards first came out.
Sure.
People couldn't grasp. Wait, what do you mean? But it's not cash.
It's not
It's
exactly.
not a check.
Exactly.
It's just this card. It's not real.
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, I took over, and
yep.
The rest of that stuff kind of.
Yeah, that was. It didn't take long for it to go clunk with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's a conversation of a new way to value things.
Absolutely.
And because all value is only a conversation and an agreement between people that this thing is worth this much.
Yep.
This is valuable. This is not. So there is no such thing as is worth or is not worth. It's an understanding and an acceptance and an agreement between people that it has a value.
Yeah.
And I got it. It went clunk. I said, oh, I got it.
Gordon Shumway says he's loving the NFTs. He's got himself Keith Garlett's NFT.
The one that you... Oh, my God.
Which is hysterical. The fact that somebody swiped I took the photograph. I can't remember why I took it. I was in the living room of my house. I have one of my running shirts on. I think it was for a promotional thing to raise money. Right. We were running. My brother-in-law and I were running 50 miles to raise money for the Matheny Medical and Educational Center. So I had to take a selfie picture. I've got my.
I see. Okay.
Mug on. Well, that picture, made it online, and they got picked up on a Harry Potter fan site.
Because you've illustrated Harry Potter.
Yeah, because I've illustrated for the Harry Potter game many moons ago. But somebody then boosted that photograph, and I found the one of your brother, Tim.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so there's a Tim, I just found it this morning, a Tim Hildebrandt face NFT. Now, so people are, that's the illegal stuff. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
Well, then you've been finding a bunch of my stuff, right? And Gene's been finding, you guys found a whole lot of my stuff lifted.
Yes.
And that's the blatant thievery. I mean, that's all bald-faced thievery.
Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy because, when we were getting into this and people were crawling out of the woodwork to get your art. Right? I mean, they were coming from everywhere as NFTs boomed at the beginning of the year, right? Like right in that April, May area, Beeple sold his for $65 million or whatever, and then so NFTs are all the rage, right?
Yep.
And as these people are crawling out of the woodwork and making their pitches and doing their sales and all that stuff, one of the things that we kept reading and everybody kept ensuring us is that, it had to be minted by the artist, and proof that the artist was minting it was required. And that sounded awesome and turned out to be rubbish.
Yeah.
There are sites that I think are a little bit more reputable and that not just anyone can post NFTs for sale, so they ensure that the stuff is on their site is legit. But you got one out there that in a lot of ways is good because any artist could mint an NFT and try to sell it, right? It's an open market. You're no longer closed out by the big companies. but at the same time, there's almost no regulation. It's like the Wild West.
Yeah, like most things are when they begin.
Yeah, and then you get someone taking my face.
Yep, stealing your face
and putting my face on the blockchain. Why anyone would want to do that? Like, I don't know why anyone would look at it and say, "I bet somebody out there will pay money for this."
Well, it's because you're connected to the Harry Potter in the thing, isn't it? Isn't that the main?
Well, yeah, that's
concept?
The reason why. But still,
It's irrational.
It's irrational that anybody would take the time to do that.
It's all very weird.
It is very weird. But you do have a drop that's live right now.
We do with heavy metal and Artify, right? In Australia, which is we're working through. Heavy metal is working with them, and I get the concept even more so now with the NFT in that the idea is not just to take, say, a digital shot of this or any painting you would do or I would do or drawing you or I would do, and calling that the NFT, but we're taking my paintings now, and I assume yours will be happening, and other artists, and animating it.
Yeah.
Digitally animated. Now I'm all for that. I'm an animation freak. I said to Artify and Heavy Metal, animate the hell out of it, man. Go crazy with it.
Yeah.
And there's a justification for me, even more so, that there's a value to this.
Yeah.
That's separate from the value of the original painting.
Yeah.
It's a separate value thing because it's an original object by itself.
Yep.
You know, it's moving. There's all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And it's really cool to me to see you. I can't think of any other artist off the top of my head that has remained current and relevant as long as you have. You know.
Yeah, I'm 83. I'll be 83 in about a month, less than a month actually. Another month, about a month, just about a month. I think the gist is don't let yourself get old. Up here, I mean, physically, you have no control over the body.
Yeah.
But mentally, spiritually, creatively, imaginatively, the imagination again is everything, and that never goes away, unless you don't use it.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't use it, you lose it. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I think people give up on it, and they're told act your age, grow up, and all that shit. And you know, it kills it. It kills it all. Every kid has got all that. They're nearer the source of wherever they came from.
Yeah.
And you know, which is who knows what that is. And I think don't try not to lose that. I mean, work at it. You know, it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done. I mean, here I am. I'm still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're not afraid to step into these worlds. Or getting back on the horse with heavy metal, and it's not like when you look at this painting, it's not like, oh, cool, heavy metal's doing a nostalgia issue. They're doing a throwback. No, it's contemporary. It's clearly a Hildebrandt, but the style within the style has evolved.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Well, if you say so. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm just painting pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The subject pops up, and you just tackle it. However, you see it right internally. You get a vision, not a vision like whoa like that, but I'm saying you get an idea, and let that run you.
Yeah.
Basically, let it go. Let it run you. Right.
That's right. Let's see what the people who's chiming in. So happy you're actually wearing the bunny suits. You're welcome. So happy. 1.6 shooter got his first Hildebrandt piece this year.
Oh yeah,
that is right. Not that long ago. Which one was it though? Chime in and let us know what it was. Yeah, Jean's back there yelling at the thieves. You probably can't hear her.
She's on the phone. Yeah,
talking about something. And Gordon Shumway, 2022 year of the Greg Hildebrandt NFTs. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like it's happening. It's starting. Well, didn't you say there was
There's a drop live right now.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, again, continue to talk about that, just for everybody out here that might watch this and is thinking about the art career. the thing I've always have been amazed at by you and I completely admire is your how proficient, how productive you are, and
organization. I mean, I've always been that way, but Jean even makes it more that way and has for the last 40 years because she structures everything.
Yeah.
Right? She structures the entire day. Like, again, I've got the board over here where she puts everything on the board of what I'm going to work on. Yeah. Not that, she's decreeing what I'm going to work on. We've talked about it, and it's evolved, and their commissions or their self-generated concepts and ideas that I'm, and we just fit them in, and she puts it in and structures everything. And again, she runs everything. The household, the management of the house. I mean, oil deliveries. Where do you get the furnace that broke down, fixed, and replaced? I'm saying, normally, traditionally, it's the guy's business that the man does that work, and people, throw up figures. Let him be a man, that kind of shit. And of course, I put my dress around and wrapped a woman's, go yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that makes it all possible. That makes it incredibly. If anybody, all artists need a Jean. I mean, really. I mean, because she is the one that makes it. Granted, I was very productive all my life. I mean, I always was able to, to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's there.
It's in your nature.
It's in my nature. It's in my upbringing or my genes or what the hell ever.
It goes beyond your scheduled work because I've seen the mounds of drawings and sketches and the fact that you get up before the workday officially begins.
Right, and then
to draw
concepts, ideas, whatever. The brain dump stuff that just plops out of my head.
Yeah.
Whole concept of storylines and ideas that I've got, and that's. But I mean, that's. I say it's an obsessive compulsive behavior, and without that, you don't do shit.
Well,
excuse my English. But that's basically it. I mean, you have to have that drive, and it's not like it's anxiety drive. I mean, it isn't. It's not like that. It's an internal thing that I have that I just I haven't got it right yet. It's kind of way.
It's as natural as breathing.
Yeah. Exactly. Right
now, we found this number out right before we went live because I wanted to know the answer, and I knew that Jean had it if you didn't, and which was how many finished pieces. Now, this isn't finished like commissioned drawings, but paintings and blackboards have you done this calendar year?
I lose track of that stuff. I don't remember.
50.
50?
You're on number 50.
Okay, so there's 12 months in a year, so
there's 52 weeks in a year.
Mm-hmm. So it's like one a week.
Yeah.
My first thought is that all? Well, because again, we're not counting all the stuff that nobody sees.
We're
not.
I'm not counting the drawings, the sketches, and all that stuff.
Right.
I'm also not counting the finished pencil commissions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not counting the remarks.
Well, yeah. My mom told me, I was doing a filmed interview with her before she died. She was 90, and she died at 95. But she said that in her assessment of my brother and myself, that we had done more work by the time we were 16 than most people do in their lifetimes. That was the way she put it.
Yeah.
So I've been that way since I was a kid. You're just at it constantly, and I never, it just was, and and it wasn't always that, I never had a real big flop. I mean, I always was in it. I never had to go do another thing. I never had to go pump gas or what the hell ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was always able to do artwork to make a living. And then some years, though, it got thin certainly way before I met Jean. And before Tim and I illustrated The Lord of the Rings in 1975 for the 76 calendar, which gave us a global reputation. Before that, we had probably a 20-year career.
Yeah.
And it got really thin. And, 1 year, and you have to pump out. And the kind of illustration we're doing was taking every job that you could get. You're running into the city with your portfolio, going, making arrangements, meetings with art directors and ad agencies or publishing houses, which you could do back in the day. And they actually saw you. and you would show your portfolio, you do your dog and pony act, and try to go home with a job, and it was all over the place. I mean, little spot illustrations, the big full paintings. One year, Tim and I, it was like, I think 70, maybe 1973, for some reason, that we added up how many illustrations we had done that year. It was 1,000, almost 1,000. It was 980 something, and that was everything from a little spot,
Yeah.
to full page, to half page, to big paint. Not big, but paintings for covers for magazines or what the heck, advertising. 1,000. So, and that doesn't include how many layouts you would do, drawings to get to that, get to the finish that we all know you do multiple, and so. I don't know how much artwork I've done. I mean, it's like uncountable. And I still haven't got it right.
Damn. So, you initially put up the white canvas to kind of represent the upcoming and the new year, the blank slate.
Yeah, there was it. And then Gene said, no, blank, you got to get a picture up. Put a picture up, Gene said. I said, all right. We went over, looked. I said, how about this? She said, good, let's put that one up.
Well, it's a great representation of
this year, of a high point for me. I take it, for me. But the blank canvas behind is probably 4 feet tall by about 5 feet across. And I'm planning to do a big rendering, a big painting of what has become known as the Black Sabbath Mob Rules album cover, even though that's not what it originally was. It was a dream or nightmare that I had that was in an art book that Valentine printed that Black Sabbath saw and used for their album cover, that Gene let them use. And I did that painting probably, I don't remember, 1970 probably. And I had a nightmare dream from what I was going through politically, religiously, spiritually, all kinds of stuff happening. And that's what came out of it. And I did a bunch of sketches for a period. I think I had the dream somewhere in the late 60s. And I would do sketches and things, and it'd sit there on a drawer somewhere in my studio. Finally, I had to get it out of my system, so I painted it. But the idea that's all it was just something I was going to get out, momentarily.
Yeah.
But the idea that I would eventually paint it large.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like Gene said, okay, it's time to do that. Because she's heard that for years, me talking that way.
Yeah.
And so she said, we'll do this now. So I cut the canvas, and I'm in my head about it because it's like I have to go back to the time frame, which was a very heavy duty period for me. Not that most periods haven't been heavy duty since then. It seems like everything just keeps happening and going crazier and more mad and demented. But it's still, from what I was experiencing. So it's not a matter that I'm going to copy the painting, that I'll put it there, even though I'm going to keep the same structure and same basic setup for the composition. I'm not going to try to restructure the composition because I'm satisfied with the composition, the basic setup, But there's what will enter into it now, I don't know, because there's going to be something else will start to enter into the picture, given the last how many 40, 50 years since I painted the damn thing.
Yeah.
That has occurred in my life and in the world. Obviously, it's endless. So I don't know what that'll be. I'm open to the possibility. In other words, that there will be more to it than what was initially there.
Yeah. Very cool. I was curious about it. I was going to ask you that question: will you be open to letting something happen?
Yeah, because these paintings that are like that I painted, very few of them, mainly back in the 70s, were that, where you just let it happen as it happened. You'd get it would be coming from a dream or total dream state, or that, halfway state where you're leaving conscious, the subconscious is coming forward. and the image forms, and an idea comes out. I've done some of those sketches. I've done sketches like that, yeah, lately, but I've not done a finished paintings like those. So I will let that happen again. I mean, I'll be aware of that, and whatever, you put yourself into a state, however that happens, and let whatever come out, and see where that goes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have no idea what that will be, and I don't want to know right now until I start it. You know.
Yeah, I admire the willingness, right, to, and maybe you don't feel this way, so please correct me if I'm speaking out of line here or if I'm way off base, but the willingness to travel a path that you know is destined to be dark.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. I mean, I do enough art that is more for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic and legit, and I'm happy. I love doing it. I mean,
yeah.
But this is completely something else where you want to let this side come out, the way that reality to come out. I want it to happen, and no, it's like you just have to go with the flow and let it be, and whatever it takes you through, put yourself there and let it happen.
I mean, as a fan and an outside observer, of getting the opportunity to watch you work and see the different stages and to see a lot of the the concepts as they're coming forward. I'm very much looking forward to watching the shift from Greg Hildebrandt, the very, very proficient technical artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to Greg Hildebrandt, the sorry for lack of a better term here, but the psychological artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully that makes sense to everybody. No. But we've talked a lot, on this live stream and off live stream of when you're approaching commercial jobs and you're doing, Spider-Man and the Hulk or the Hulk and Wolverine.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's a very technical approach to the work. What's the composition?
Mm-hmm.
What is the lighting? What's the story that needs to be told?
Is it clear?
Here's the application of the paint to make that image hit immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
It's an academic,
and it's not that kind of work. Is not necessarily the one that you're talking about. That leads people down their own path of analyzing the image and saying, "Wait a minute, what's he talking about here?" No, it's clearly stated.
Yeah.
Commercial work is generally clearly stated. This is what it is.
Yeah.
It is that. And that's totally valid. I'm not, that's valid even as fine art as opposed to commercial.
Absolutely.
There it is. But these images that I painted and this one that I will go off on, and other images that I will hope will rise. And I have sketches and all kinds of ideas. That stuff comes out was that idea that you're going to get it up there. There's not really a concern whether or not you're telling an immediate story that is clear to people. It's more like you got to do it just for yourself, mainly. That's where it's all at, right there.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody likes it, they want to buy a copy of it, they want to buy the original, or they just want to look at it on a screen and see, let them enter it, and they might not readily understand it, but let them make it their own and travel into it and see what they can find in there.
Yeah.
How they read it. And some of them that I've done like that, people read completely in two opposite views, say, to one of them that I've done.
Yeah.
And that's you bringing yourself to it.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different thing than, generally speaking, most commercial artists.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I'm particularly excited to see you go back down that road.
I'm glad that you are. So am I. And it's always the thing that over the years, it's like that thing doesn't readily sell because people may not instantly get it. If you do a painting from Star Wars, like trillions of people know Star Wars. You do a painting from Marvel Comics, trillions of people know Marvel Comics. Yeah, they're all givens. You're dealing as an artist with a given that's very, 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 very famous and popular for the most part. So there's no sweat there. The sweat is about how well can you paint and draw.
Yeah.
But there's not a sweat as far as like that. This will. Well, you're doing it generally to get paid for it anyway. It's a job you're getting paid for.
Yeah.
And then you sell the painting, and if people want the painting. So with these kind of self-generated images, especially these kinds that I'm talking about, and we're talking about now, they're very esoteric. They're not known by anybody.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure it out yourself as you're doing it. I mean, to say nothing of the fact that somebody observing it, they know nothing about this, so it's brand new. If you want, it's more risky business.
Yeah.
In terms of making a living off of that kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, but
it's not a sure thing.
No, never. No way. You're not. No. So hey, look at. I mean but that's the thrill of it. That's the excitement of it. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're in the position to, as someone who has made a career out of art, right? Like that's your career. You're not doing a side hustle and I'm doing this and okay, well I'm working at McDonald's so I get to paint whatever I want whenever I want. Yeah. That's not what you do. You make pictures for a living. But being in a place of where you're able to say, okay, I'm ready to step back. I'm ready to revisit this idea as a starting point.
Yep.
To move forward, and not as okay. This is something that has to sell. If it sells, it sells. You may not want to sell it at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing that is important is this is what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
You as an artist don't speak with your mouth.
Right. Very limitedly.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Obviously.
Yeah, but no.
Hopefully everybody's smart enough to get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Your true voice is with paint and brush.
Yeah. Imagery. Pictures.
And again, I feel like I have to keep qualifying some of the things I say, but I believe that you get me.
Oh, I totally get you, man.
It's
clear as a bell.
Again, your voice, what you say, is done with paint and brush.
Yep.
It's very nice to get to hear you speak, not other people's thoughts, of which I admire.
Not yeah,
but truly
your own. Here, yeah, absolutely, man. That's where it's at.
Yep. I'm happy about it.
As we delve into these more deeper psychological, personal things dressed in our pink bunny suits, which is kind of there's no problem with that,
None.
So, clothes make the man. I mean, come on.
All right, I'm going to see if we get some people that have been chiming in. Some of these are going to go way back. I'm not sure. Got the Darth Vader illustration. Yes, absolutely. Now I remember. Gordon Shumway, yay for Gene. Sell. That's right. Gord, there's no one more amazing than Gene. That is true, man.
Absolutely.
Chris Cohen.
That's Gordon Shumway talking to you, Gene.
What?
Gordon Shumway is talking to you. He's saying there's no one more amazing than Gene.
Thank you, Gordon.
And then, also, Chris.
That's a flash.
So cute.
That's a nice flash, Gordon.
Hello, Gordon.
Bada boom. Sorry about that.
Chris Cohen, what in the world have I stumbled into here? Ha ha.
Uh-huh.
Bada boom.
Yes. Oh, that's funny that you had just talked about the serious discussion of the rabbit suits because someone else had made that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are Are the rabbits enjoying themselves?
Yeah, having a good time.
Having a good time.
Okay.
Having a good.
Philosophical, well, not artistic
Did the name
talk.
rabbit talk about NFTs?
NFTs,
did.
yes, we
We had
did.
a whole big conversation about NFTs.
Just so you know, their website's not working.
Who's not working?
I'm just telling you, you might want to tell people that.
Who's?
I'm getting emails from people that
Apparently, Artifies. We had an NFT drop that we talked about at the beginning of the show, or not right at the, in the first half. And apparently, the site in which the NFTs have dropped onto, the place of purchase,
purchase.
is not
Listen, they're
functioning
more than-
properly. So I'm going to assume that means there will be another drop at a later time. So
what would
to
be
be
the cause of
continued.
that kind of a thing? Mechanical difficulty, electric,
computer gremlins.
Computer gremlins. It's
gremlins?
magic, right, Gordon? It's magic.
Well, Ed Dicker, who's he? I know Gordon Shumway, but I don't know who the hell.
I don't know who Ed Dicker is.
I
either.
don't know.
Hey, Ed.
But
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
J.N. Hovey
Everyone.
says he's excited for the path and he's along for the ride.
There you go.
Yeah.
what ride is that?
Yours. In that car. Take a ride on heavy metal.
Ninth Art car.
I looked that up and now I can't remember what it means. It was something about art being elevated to a higher level.
I think it's European, and I think
Yes,
there's
France.
many art forms.
Yes.
Dance, theater, the sequential art is the ninth
Is the
art.
ninth art form. Yes, that is from France. Thank you. We remembered together.
Well, seeing as how the Metal Hurlant, howling metal in France,
Yep.
started there at first in 1975, and then heavy metal here in the States in 77, of which I was a fan from the get-go. Especially, I mean, you talk about visuals, you talk about
Oh, yeah.
speaking. Mobius, I
Oh,
mean,
my God.
that's when I discovered him. I mean,
Yep.
oh my God, incredible, overwhelming,
Yes.
mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And of course, all the people who saw the Tarna in the 1981 film were pretty much mind-boggled too, I think. Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, I just finished a Tarna battling two characters of my own creation, flying
Yes.
creature and his rider. Its rider.
I think we had it behind us last week.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to see it can go back and check it out. Check out last week's show.
Yeah, but what the hell were we talking about?
Before we got.
Something.
Oh, we were talking about
The drop is mechanical.
Before we were talking about that was you going down that road of the personal expression illustration of your voice.
Yeah, well that's the ultimate one for any artist.
Yeah, get to do what you want to do.
You do what you want to do, express yourself, and that's always the most fearful one, I think, too, because it's like you might get you get up and there's a blank piece of paper and maybe you have nothing to say.
Yes.
And maybe you have, and maybe that there's a fear. There's a real fear. Maybe I have nothing to say.
Or the other fear of, I guess it's kind of the same thing. Nothing to say, but is what I have to say or want to say of any value?
Right.
Yeah.
And how? Yes. And then to have the determination and the guts to leap into it, the self-confidence, if you will, is that the word? I don't even know. Or the insanity, stupidity, it could be that, to jump into it and just do it and say to hell with it. I mean, I and for me, it's like I say, being almost 83, it's like, if not now, when? Kind of like that's there,
As far as we all know, there's no second ride.
I've not known and talked to anybody who's experienced it, so I can't talk.
I talked to a guy who said that he experienced it, but he was lying.
Yeah.
He's good. He's lying.
Well, it's like I'd leave. I believe I don't. When at this time of the year, especially, people talk about spiritual religious ideas and stuff, and I don't have any practice any religion anymore. And but when it comes to such things, people ask me if I believe in anything, and I say, not in regards to that. I don't actively believe in any religion or anything like that, but I believe in the possibility of everything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you think deeper along the lines of spirituality than most people I know that go to church every week.
I don't know. I don't know any people going to church every week these days, so you have more information about that. I mean, I can just remember my past, and I'm not going to say that I think more or better than. No,
it's not a better than.
It's other than.
It's other than. It's what you ponder on and what you think about.
Well, the only thing for me is that. What?
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to be clear about that not in a religious way, but you ponder what else there is.
Yeah, religion being what? It's an invention of men.
Yeah.
It's a system of belief, whatever that happens to be, but it's created by humans.
Yes. So,
no, I don't, it's not my thing to let that limit me, in any way, form, or manner. I mean, and, I prefer to not get put in that particular box and then, cut off all the other possibilities that are out there. And eventually witnessing the workings of history is that happens, and then this structure in this box here is ignorant of this box over here, and this box is ignorant of this box over here. So the next step in their ignorance is to fear this box and its ideas and contents and humans over here, vice versa. And the next step is to hate it, so that the ignorance of the rest of the world and the locking of yourself into this one concept leads to your fearing of that thing, which is pretty primal as hell. And then your hate of it. And then war is carried on in the name of the respective gods.
Okay, see that was the thing I was going to add into that. Okay, so we have this box and this box. And most 95% of this box doesn't know anything about that box. 95% of this. But there's 5% that do. And that 5% that know about that box want what's in that box. And this box wants what's in that box. They don't know how to get it other than to convince the other 95% that there's something bad over there.
Mm-hmm.
Something to be afraid of over there. Something you should not like and something you should not trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that greed is the driving force.
Yes, the greed and the use of that fear and of that which is over there, and the enemy that's over there. Then you make an enemy of it, which is what politicians and they without the enemy at the gate, what the hell is their job? They always have to perpetually have the enemy at the gate and the other and the stranger and the unknown, and we don't know what they're capable of over there.
It taps in and it plays on to two of the most primal things to exist. Safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping yourself safe.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a fear of the unknown that's built in. Now some people want to run from it, some people want to fight it, attack it, some people want to just avoid it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that fear of your safety and fear that you could go hungry.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking here just about America. We're talking about globally. This is every freaking race, religion,
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's those they're natures of mankind.
Yeah, and what the hell do you call that? What would that be? I don't even know what the hell. How does the human race transcend that? Get beyond it? How the hell do we stop this idiocy, the madness of the centuries of the hate and the fear and Phil, don't just get off our shit and get together. Look what we could pull off. It's overwhelming.
It is.
It's pretty stupidly primal. Just get off your shit and come together.
I mean, if you look at with this again, based on those areas of conflict and fear, the space race of the '60s, right?
Yep.
But when you saw the country pull together for a common good, boom, we left the Earth's surface for the first time, shot into outer space. 2 different countries were able to do it.
Yeah.
We were the only ones that landed on the moon, but 2 different countries were able to, at that time, plant themselves on rockets and blast themselves out of our atmosphere. That motivation was not necessary.
No, it wasn't. Competition. They all refer to this bullshit idea of the great healthy American spirit of competition. Well, I effing disagree with that. As an artist, anyway. I'm not going to go into other people's professions. As an artist, I do not compete with anybody.
Yeah.
Only myself. Because I'm talking about the competition that needs to be, that you have to conquer and whack and kill the other guy.
Yeah.
That out of the question.
No.
There's nothing healthy about that.
No.
To me, that's deranged and insane. You should be driven by your desire to do it, to be as good as you can at what you do.
Yeah.
And then unite with other people who are in the same mindset and join forces and work together. I mean, people are going to say, well, you're a utopian crackpot. Why? Well, no, I didn't. People will say back to me, well, look, this is the way it is in the world. No, it's not the way it is. It's the way you made it. You keep it going.
Yeah.
This just didn't happen. This got created to be this way.
Yeah.
You can uncreate it to be that way. And at this time of the year, when everybody's the day after tomorrow celebrating the birth of what they believe, those who believe it, to be the Son of God.
Yep. Or the Savior of mankind.
The Savior, and what that Son of God grew up and spoke and said, and this is the way to do it, and this is the way to live.
It was great.
It was incredible. And would you see it?
Well,
I mean, as a whole, do you see it in the?
No.
That's a whole other story.
We digress.
But we digress.
Take a ride on heavy metal, people.
Take a ride on heavy metal. Yes, we have a tendency to do that these days. But this is it. This is what you do as any intelligent. People who want to think. Right? You let your brain go.
So Chris Cohn says regarding the second ride, he had an aneurysm 12 years ago. He experienced something. He has no idea what was going on, but it was something else. Right? But didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to say if you didn't know what it wasn't. Oh.
Choirs.
Pearly gates. Lou Pons, you have changed my own expectations of myself. I've tried so many random art things the last few weeks because after listening to you, I felt like it was okay to wander. Thank you. Cool. Adrian says religion is separate from spirituality.
Yep.
I agree. Listening to Greg, put him out of his box.
Get out of the box and into the light.
I was lucky to find someone selling a box of Omni, 1979. Oh, Omni magazine. I guess for $10 the other day.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I was feeling a little bit underdressed for the occasion. All right. Whatever you're wearing, I'm sure is fine. So, sir, we have come to the close. We're at 5 o'clock.
We've tried to cover what? What the hell did we talk about? We talked about the end of what we did.
Well, we
this
talked
year,
about we actually talked about a tiny portion of your year.
Yeah.
Your year in review. We talked about the NFTs and that you created 50 paintings and you got back in with heavy metal. We did not mention that you got back in with Wizards of the Coast doing Magic the Gathering. I did that too.
Yeah.
That was another step into these forays.
Yes, and I'm continuing to do the work for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
That's ongoing. I hope that's going to continue because that's a world that I love, you know.
Can I tell you the exciting thing I found out this year? Can I tell you?
Tell me.
So, you know those DNA tests, right?
Yes, right, where you find your ancestry and all that kind of stuff.
23andMe. So we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I gotta
This is interesting.
I gotta throw it out there, folks. Not only I found out that my great grandfather had 8 children before having my grandmother. I knew my grandmother had a brother and 2 other sisters. That's all we knew. 4. Found out that there were 8 before those 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very interesting. So there's a whole other history of my family that I did not know about. Found out that the last name was not a real last name at all. It was completely made up.
Made up.
Made up. Well, the name DeFonso is not a real name, right? His real name was Periandri or something pronounced that way. Now, his first wife's maiden name was D'Onofrio, and then so after he left her with her 8 kids, he changed his name to DeFonso, which sounds like a derivative of D'Onofrio.
Mm-hmm.
But no one knows. You know, it's like your first assumption is he's just splitting town and changing his name to hide from her. But then why would you make your name sound similar to hers?
Sounds very...
It's very fishy. We don't know. We may never, ever, ever know. But even Periandri was made up because his dad was abandoned at birth, and the people that found him gave him that last name. Right? And also, I found out that my great aunt had a kid before and adopted it out before the cousins that I knew. And I have a whole side of my family that they're like, no, it's all lies, blah, 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 it's lies. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. Nope, DNA doesn't lie, folks.
Very interesting.
It's there.
And how do you go about doing this? You just like submit?
You spit in a vial,
mm-hmm.
and you send it out, and they analyze it. And the people that have also spit in vials that put it out, it analyzes all of that, and you start getting matches. And so this woman who is interested in finding her birth mother, which is my aunt, haven't been connected yet. People in my family are all about like, oh, we shouldn't say anything. Obviously, I don't care about that thought.
Wow.
So I'm just dumping it all. And I also found out that I'm not Native American.
You're not. You always claimed that you were part Cherokee, right?
I claimed that I was part Cherokee because I was told that we were part Cherokee. I was told that
Well, that's disappointing.
It is disappointing. I was told, now, here's the thing. I was told my great-grandmother was like 100% Cherokee.
Yeah,
that's what she was. And now, looking at her, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't question it, until she died. Coal black, straight hair, face looked native to me. But I got the results back, and I have 1% that's unidentified.
Oh boy.
I doubt that 1% unidentified is Cherokee.
Jeez.
So yeah, that's kind of...
Very interesting. Maybe I should try that sometime and look and see maybe what the hell is there. I don't know.
Right? You get to find out all kinds of interesting things. And so I was perpetuating that I had... Now, I went in and figured out, I was like, my children will be the last of the Cherokee bloodline because it goes to like 1/16 or whatever. And that's them. And it made me think of Elizabeth Warren, right? Senator Elizabeth Warren, of whom claimed to be Native American. And then it turned out she wasn't. And she got absolutely trashed for that. Now, I don't know if she may have been told by her family.
Sure, of course. Just like you.
Just like me. And you go along with it because you trust in that people aren't lying to you.
Right.
in your own family.
Well, I mean, my parents. I know that my dad started to do a thing, way before internet or anything like that, family tree thing. I think after we saw Roots, the TV, miniseries,
Yep.
and he got interested in checking out. So he took it from what he found out that his side anyway went back to Switzerland ultimately. And I know that from my son-in-law, Mary's husband, is that he said it's a very common name in Switzerland, Hildebrandt. But I never pursued it after that. But there was no artist. He found one artist, I think in the 1700s. He was some court painter.
Okay.
And there was nobody that ever showed up on his side in that respect. My mother's side was Polish, even though, and she would talk Polish to their sisters on the phone, or two sisters, when they didn't want to know what the kids, they want to talk privately on the phone with the kids around, they would talk Polish. And I remember growing up finally and moving out here to the east and working, career and everything, going back and my mom, she would always like, I said to her, trying to find out her background, you're Polish. She said, I am not. She was really like disdain. No, I'm not Polish. And I said, well, my birth certificate, I can't remember the spelling. It was like Lyczk, some kind of like name like that on my birth certificate. And she would always call herself, and when I give her name now, when they ask for my mother's maiden name, it's Lajak. So Luchik, I think, got turned into Lajak. I don't know whether that happened in movie ancestry. So she always claimed that she was a French-Canadian descent. And while she knew damn well she was Polish, but she grew up in a time frame where Polish people were denigrated, and there was always the Polish jokes, and they were always put down and all that. So she didn't want to deal with it. So
that's understandable.
And I can understand that. I can get that.
I did find out though that again, the blood like traveling around that my ancestors did come, part of them from Scandinavia in that area when the Vikings were there.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, so they went from Scandinavia over into like England.
So now you're not Cherokee, you're Leif Erikson.
I'm Leif Erikson.
Yeah.
Go figure. I've always referred to myself as a North American mutt anyway.
Well, that's what most of us are. Many of us.
Anyway, thank you for letting me talk about my 23andMe.
I think that's fantastic. Interesting. I'm kind of intrigued. I like maybe see what Gene's interested in trying to find that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in contact with some of the people that what got me into doing this. Girl was my cousin who was reaching out and saying, "Hey, she put on her Facebook page, if I'm reaching out to you, chances are we're related." I didn't think anything of it. I just thought that was something she had on her page of, and then my other cousin contacted me and said, "Hey, do you know this person? They're in touch with me. What they're saying is legit." And it turns out, it was legit. She seems very lovely. I've never met her face to face. We just communicated online, and very nice person.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic.
All right, folks. Let's see. What are we going out before we go out for the end of the year? No show next week, folks. Everybody's taking a week off. Good day, gents. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All the best with your hopes and dreams. 22 and beyond. Yes. Same to you, Chris. Tim Hartwick, my daughter. Juniper says Merry Christmas. Greg and Keith. Merry Christmas, Juniper.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Not to you, Tim, because you didn't say it. Your daughter said it. So Merry Christmas to Juniper. All right, folks. Bye, and we will see you upon our return in 2 weeks. All right?
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Finish.